Hi, I'm Mitch Gallagher. Welcome to Sweetwater's Guitars and Gear. We have a special video for you today. We're introducing a new amp. We have a special guest here. Dave Friedman is here. He's brought Dave Black to play some guitar for us. And Don Carr, Nick Bowcott, and myself are also going to sit down and have a sort of a roundtable discussion. We're going to play some different guitars to this amp. So I think you're going to get a good feel for what this amp is all about. So Dave, great to have you here, first of all. Always
Thanks,
a pleasure.
As usual.
And
great.
tell us what this is. Why are we here?
BE-50 Deluxe is kind of a culmination of all the things that I've done to amps over the years, that I've added on to people's amps, that I've done custom for people. It's just kind of a highly idealized version, 50-watt version, of a BE-100.
So we all had a chance to sit down and play through this thing. And I have to admit that I was really blown away.
Yeah, really, definitely. I'm familiar with the BE-100. We got one in the studio, use it all the time, and man, this amp is just, you know, just another level. It's just a slightly different version, you know, but it's still got all that same great quality, the 100.
Right, right. And Nick, you played through it as well.
Yeah, I love surprisingly enough, I love the clean. I'm not a clean player. I like to hide behind lots of distortion, and this has lots of distortion. I love the fact that on the clean now, you've got bass, middle, and treble, as well as the volume and the bright switch. And he separated the BE and the HBE channel. So you've got, they share the EQ, but you've got gain 1 and volume 1 for BE, gain 2, volume 2 for HBE. So it literally is a 3-channel amp.
So essentially what's different about it, so you have a different clean channel in this one. This is kind of based on our Buxom Betty amp that we have.
Right.
It's a great clean. I'm sure you have one.
I have one. I love it. Yep. And Don, you've got a LSL, a Culver Hines signature Strat, and you've got it plugged into the clean channel right now. Why don't you play for us?
Okay, let's go.
The nice thing about that is that it has a glassy top end. It's really bright and sparkly, but it's not harsh. It doesn't cut your head off.
Right, right. And with the bright switch option too, I mean, you can dial that in exactly where you want it. And the treble has got such a wide shelf on it too. You can, I mean, between the bright switch and the treble, you can get the high end exactly where you want it.
So I've got my Les Paul plugged into the clean channel now. Again, that's a Buxom Betty style channel. I've turned the low end down just a little bit. Got the bass pulled back just a little bit, and I've turned the bright switch into the middle position. That's a 3-position switch. Let's listen to what it sounds like with the Les Paul. I'm playing through both pickups here. All the way to the left. And to the right. That's really an effective bright switch. It really makes a difference.
Yeah, it does.
No kidding, man. It makes a Les Paul really chirpy all the way to the right like that. That sounds great, man.
But again, it's still not cutting your head off.
Not
it's
harsh at
still
all,
a round sound there. When we put that back, I like it in the left position. That's one of the things I really like about this amplifier is that you can do everything from a jazz clean tone to, as we'll see, ultra gain metal.
The other cool thing about the bright switch is that all 3 are very usable.
Right.
So it's not good, better, best. It's like they're all cool. It's just your own personal flavor and or taste and what you're playing. So that adds to the versatility.
And you can match it to the guitar that you're using, whether a single coil or a humbucker like this or a humbucker like you have.
Exactly. Yeah, cool.
No matter what sort of player you are, you can dial in a tone to suit you. So if you only need slight bit of breakup and you want kind of a dark, squishier sort of tone, you can dial in the response knob lower, the voice switch darker. If you want it fatter in general, you're playing strats or tellies, you can kind of just shape the amplifier to be what you need it to be.
Right.
It's not just a one-trick pony at all.
While we're on the clean channel, we should mention that unlike the Buxom Betty, there's actually an effects loop in this amp, which of course the BE-100 does have, the Buxom Betty does not. But really cool to be able to get that Buxom Betty tone and still have that clean tone. We've got a TC Electronic reverb here that's providing some reverb, and you do have a bypass switch on the back for that effects loop as well as a level control.
And let me say that Dave Friedman really knows how to dial in an effects loop, man. I mean, that thing sounds great. The buffering is just perfect on it.
Yeah, it doesn't change the tone when you engage it
Not at all.
Yeah, a lot of people use the word transparent, but it's not when you listen to it. This one, you can't hear it, if that's not an oxymoron. It's so good you can't hear it.
I love the way it sounds. You can't hear it.
You can't hear if it's interact. Then that's the magic.
Right. Let's switch over and talk about the gain channel, just a little, or the gain channels, I should say, a little bit. So we've got the BE channel, which would be like the BE-100. Right. And as Nick mentioned, we really have a separate channel for the HBE, which is the boosted version. And you can foot switch both of those as well. Now, the cool thing is that in addition to separate gain controls for each of those modes, we also have a separate master volume for each. So you can have a separate level set for your solos and really make them jump out.
You have the typical HBE and BE channels of a BE-100, but what's different is you have a separate master and gain for the HBE channel. Same shared EQ. Then in the power amp, you have a few extra features. You have a thump knob, which is kind of a low-end resonance knob,
right,
that you see on some other amps. You have a response knob, which is a variable negative feedback, actually. So one way is a little squishier, a little softer in response. The other way is a little more pushed and a little punchier.
Nick, why don't you give us a taste of what this thing sounds like when we're on the BE channel?
Sure. I've got the mids kind of a little bit scooped, maybe at 10 o'clock, bass pretty much all the way up, treble pretty high. I've got thump and resonance halfway and presence halfway. Gain is kind of up there. I'm using this fine Nuno Betancourt Washburn minus the sparkly N. And let's see what else. I'm to drop C, so I'm down a whole step and then in drop D, so it's drop C effectively. And it's a great sounding.
Nice, that's really beefy. And through this 4x12 cabinet, we're getting a lot of thump out of it. And you can really dial that with that thump and resonance control.
Oh yeah, and the great thing is we're not playing very loud either. That's the one thing I do like about Dave's designs is he's made it, he realizes that in a lot of situations, if you're playing Madison Square Gardens is one thing, but if you're playing a club, you can't have everything on 11. So he's made it sound good on 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. And the thing I do like about Dave's designs, especially the BE, is they find their place in the mix, and it's not to do with volume. It's kind of like it's like a tapestry. It's a color that stands out without detracting from the colors around it. If you remove it, they fall off a little bit, but it's nothing to do with decibels. A lot of people think to make yourself heard within a mix, you got to be louder than everything else. Maybe in Motorhead, yeah, but that's just a joke. But you know, in all seriousness, it's nothing to do with decibels. It's sitting in the right place in the mix and being heard. And there are certain amps that are invisible. It doesn't matter how loud they are, and they can be tube or not tube. If they don't have the X factor, that dimension, that it's character almost, if you will. And these things are full of character. So, and they also allow you to sound like you, because we'll all sound different playing the same riff through the same setting, through the same guitar.
Sure.
And it's really cool for that.
So for comparison, what we heard before when Nick was playing was the Washburn with pretty high output pickups, more of a metal guitar. Now Don's got the Strat with pretty low output single coils, and we've turned back the gain here. And we want to show you how versatile this amplifier is, because it really barks. It has a nice crunchy tone with a Strat. So Don, give us an example of what this sounds like.
All right, here we go.
What I like about that is even with the amount of distortion we have here, and there's still some saturation there, all those notes really ring clearly when you're playing those complex chords.
Boy, they sure do. It really barks, man, and it's really clear, really distinct. I love the articulation in general.
I got to hear it with a Les Paul. It's just, I have to hear what it sounds like.
Of course.
Let's grab that and use the same setting.
Okay.
That's the exact same setting you were using with the Strat.
I know, isn't that nuts, man?
One word, wow.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
big, huh?
It sounds like a different amp
Yeah.
on the same exact setting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you still have all that dynamic. I love that.
Yeah, it's just the way it's driving the front end. I mean, that's what it is. You know, that's the difference.
So we've still got one more channel to check out here, and we're going to circle back around and let Nick play through this first, because it's the high gain channel, and that's where this guitar is really going to live.
Cool.
Wow. That's like, wow. Kind of says it all, right?
This wide. This wide. And I've got to emphasize this. We're not playing very loud right now.
Yeah, we're really not into the power tubes at all.
No, we're not hitting
that's
it
really
that
coming from
hard.
the preamp, and it's just so fat sounding. Now, we do have the fat switch on there. I've got the thump at about 6, resonance at about 6, and we turned the treble and the bass back all the way up and added a bit more mids in. But that is a huge tone. And of course, there's how much gain on tap here.
And still at half power.
Still at half power, right.
Yeah.
Now, there is something else we should mention with both the HB and the HBE channels, is there are a couple switches on the back that affect the response of those.
Right.
We've got a SAT switch, which is a saturation switch.
Yeah, which is diode clipping. Which
Diode clipping?
really fattens it out even more than it is now. And there's also a gain structure switch, so you can depend on how hard you're hitting the amp. So we're on the third, the highest setting right now, but you can back it off depending on what you're playing, where you're playing, what the guitar is, what you want to achieve.
On the back of the amp, we have a gain structure switch, which varies the amount of gain that the dirty channels can get. So less from the full out, goes down, a little more classic sounding.
Right.
You also have a saturation switch, which is also a leftover from the BE-100 amp. It's a more saturated, kind of more metal sort of sounding distortion, so to speak.
So what we've done is we've turned down that gain structure switch. We've put it down to the low gain position, and the saturation switch is off. And I've just backed the gain off by 2 notches here, from 8 to 6, and we've reset the EQ a little bit. Let's listen to what that Strat sounds like. Nice.
Wow.
Nice
Wow.
sustain there. I mean, it's gonna ring really clear.
Yep. Again, really articulate.
I got to hear the neck pickup.
I got to say too, it sounds like we're driving the amp really, really hard, and we're not, as Mitch has already pointed out. We're talking, we're not shouting right now.
Yeah. Right. Well,
It's quite remarkable.
The gain structure switch is really such a component of that, you know, because in the lower gain structure, we are kind of hitting the amp hard, at least on the front end, technically. But I mean, it's lower gain. Crazy, man.
It maintains all that bell-like neck pickup Strat quality, but it's really round.
Yeah, it really is super fat. Again, just I can't stop saying it. Articulate. Good grief, I'm driving myself crazy saying it, but it is, man.
Yeah, we're being a little redundantly redundant with some of these terms, but
It's
because
just,
they apply, right?
Yeah.
I said you could hear it even more than that width. You normally only hear when someone's driving the power section really hard, and we're getting it at this volume. That's quite remarkable, actually.
Right, right.
I'm impressed.
Let's hear the Les Paul.
That's your Paul Kossoff right there,
Yeah,
man.
really. That's really sweet.
That's nice.
So guys, I don't know about you, but I'm really impressed with this amplifier. I mean, it covers so much ground, because we think of the BE amp, the BE-100, as being, that's a rock amp, right? A rock and metal amp, and guys like Jerry Cantrell and Steve Stevens are using that amp to great effect. And this amp certainly covers that territory, as Nick very ably demonstrated. But this one with that Buxom Betty clean channel and that extra gain staging and the two channels on the dirty side with 2 different gain and master volume controls, man, it's super versatile.
Man, it really is. It really is. And, you know, of course, the effects loop, I mean, there's the effects loop in the 100 as well, but I just can't say enough about how nice that is to have that. So you can get those, you can get all of your time bass effects post.
Mm-hmm. And we've alluded to it several times, but one of the things that I know, Don, you and I have talked about in the past is that David Friedman is just a master of the master volume control. You know, you can actually turn his amps way, way down and they still remain tight, articulate, and they still speak and sing the way they're supposed to, whereas many amps, you're down, and they're off.
Yeah.
You know, or they crumble.
Yeah, they get flabby or whatever on the bottom of the master volume control.
Yeah, they get skinny and they lose definition. They lose their, they lose muscularity. This is Bruce Lee still at low volumes. It's all, you can hear every note. And the funny thing is, well, not funny, the scary thing is, even though we've played a bunch of different tones, we're only scratching the very surface of this with regards to its versatility. We could spend 3 hours on this video and still not even be close, if truth be told.
Well, what a ton of fun playing with this stuff.
Right.
Thanks, guys, for sitting down with me.
Hey,
and,
man,
and this way we all got to play through the amplifier as well, so none of us
And
missed
we get
out.
paid for it. Hurrah!
Even better, I didn't know about that part.
You guys are getting paid?
Well, guys, thanks again. Appreciate it. Glad to have you here, Nick.
Well,
Don.
Thank you, Mitch.
And thank you for joining me for Sweetwater's Guitars and Gear. Be sure to tune in next time. We'll have more guitars, more amps, more effects, and we'll be making lots of music. I'm Mitch Gallagher.
Thank you.